Since people kept directing me towards that Boba Fett picture, mistaking it as a bootleg, which it wasn't, it was a custom made for a convention, I assume there's some interest in me covering a Pokemon Star Wars hybrid bootleg, which I have finally found. Though these ones even add in Transformers for a little bonus. Alright guys, here we go! MarsRobot Go, that is! Because, Mars has a lot to do with Star Wars, or Pokemon, or Transformers. I know these days it's pretty popular for Pokemon bootlegs to try and cash in on Pokemon Go by nonsensically adding the Go on a bunch of things, but I haven't seen this trend quite as much with Star Wars knockoffs. Alright, so according to the Chinese characters at the top, the full name of these things is God of War MarsRobot Go. And down below, where they let us know that a TIE fighter is an airship, it also tells us again that this is the God of War, while also adding deformation, that classic. I'm just using Google Translate for that, but knowing how much Chinese bootlegs like to put deformation all over them, I'll trust that that's accurate. The only other English we get on this is where it lets us know Pokeball pops open. It even lets us know that this is in English, and even gives French. And that's the only French on here. Then there's this rather, awkward looking image of a Growlithe crammed into a Pokeball. That sure makes it look fun to be a trainer's Pokemon. Finally these two titans meet. Long have we awaited the battle between Ash Ketchum and C3PO. Gotta catch 'em all! Bootleg Star Wars Transformers with Pokemon! Which I guess I have already, since there's only 4. I guess this is the only instruction we really need to see how C3PO the traitor transforms into a TIE fighter. And according to Google Translate, that says the machine is deformed, shaped aircraft! Or it could be man deformation fly. This must be how they come up with deformation so many times on these things. So to sort of make these Star Wars Transformers have anything to do with Pokemon, each one of them comes with a little yellow translucent Pokemon and a Pokeball. I'm guessing they are all just made yellow to mostly accommodate C3PO's Pikachu. What a jackass. Stormtrooper comes with a yellow Bulbasaur. Darth Maul comes with a Blastoise, I believe. I think those are his shoulder cannons. And finally, the extremely surprised Dark Lord of the Sith comes with his favorite Clefairy. Seriously though, look at that Darth Vader face. I love when they do this. It should be so easy for them to pull off a Darth Vader, but they do this type of crap to him so often. Only some of the Pokeballs that these guys come with are based on real Pokeballs, like Darth's odd-colored Master Ball here. And Darth Maul seriously comes with the GS Ball? Why did they use the GS Ball? Guess we know Darth Maul's plot is going nowhere. Which is pretty accurate for Phantom Menace, I suppose. But then Stormtrooper comes with the Pokemon Go Ball, which is all kinds of real. And C3PO comes with the, Poke Center Ball? I don't know the shit that is. The cards for all 4 of these figures are exactly the same, all featuring C3PO and Pikachu. The only thing that's actually different is the insert inside the bubble. So the bubble insert does show you the different colored TIE fighters they each turn into, because everyone loves being a TIE. And they show you the kind of oddly proportioned TIE Boys robot modes on the side. Oh wow, they even did tech specs for these guys on the other side. But they're all exactly the same. It's too hard to think of 4 different sets of stupid numbers. I'm kinda disappointed that one of these is not telling me how good Darth Vader is at catching Pokemon. Maybe that's Fire Blast. Alright, so let's see how well our Star Wars characters' journeys to become Pokemon Master Transformers has turned out. I know I already mentioned it, but... Stupid surprised Vader! If they had just left those black, or silver as they mostly are in this guy's case, it would have looked a lot less doofy. So, I'm glad they gave him the red pupils or irises or whatever. Alright, so here's the gimmick with the knockoff Pokeballs, which is actually kinda neat, so it's probably ripped off some real one. The tops of these kind of spring shut, so you just pull them all the way, and then they click in, and then once you press on this, it'll snap shut. So we'll throw in Darth Vader's little yellow Clefairy and miss! Sweet. Oh, Clefairy's too strong for a Master Ball! Psh! Oh, but it's 100% catch rate! Nope! Man, I wish Darth Maul gave us a big ol' ridiculous smile like that somewhere in Star Wars. Even this stupid Star Wars Transformer Pokemon knockoff gives him more personality than the Phantom Menace. Look, sir, someone's still taking shots at the prequels. You're not allowed to do that anymore. Shut up. So while there still hasn't been an official Star Wars and Pokemon hybrid, there were actually official licensed Star Wars Transformers. And in that line, there was a Darth Vader that turned into a TIE fighter like this, which is of course what these four figures are primarily bootlegging. So yeah, this is pretty lazy. Instead of giving anyone else different alt forms, everyone gets to be a TIE fighter. And I know the Pokemon thing is kind of overshadowing it a bit, but still, a C3PO that transforms into a TIE fighter is pretty hilarious on its own, even. Jeez, the real Star Wars Transformers were so ridiculous, it's hard to believe that they were actually official, as you got things like Chewie and Han combining into the Millennium Falcon. But a bunch of different colored TIE fighters is still pretty funny. Except Darth Maul looks like he's mostly gonna copy Darth Vader's because he doesn't have a personality of his own. Except on the Rebels cartoon where they gave him more of a personality in a couple minutes than the entirety of the Phantom Menace. I do kind of wish that these Star Wars guys came with some weird kind of Pokemon branding somewhere on them, like, you know, C3PO's little circle in his abdomen could have been a Pokeball or something, but I'm pretty sure that these knockoffs of the Darth Vader TIE Fighter are being developed. Then they said, hey, let's just dump some Pokemon gear with them too. We'll cash in on two things at once. I guess you can at least balance the Pokemon on these guys' hands. That's kind of the best level of interactivity you're gonna get from these two things together, because it's not like these guys are ever gonna be able to hold the oversized Pokeballs. Guess I can't really complain about these bootlegs not giving me much to do though, as they got their little catch function and I get to transform them. So yeah, let's see how well this C3PO transformation sponsored by Pokemon goes. First, I guess we gotta rip open his chest or something. I don't know. There we go. There, C3PO's dead. Oh my. Of course, that's it. Keep all of this. This is good stuff. Me fumbling around with this, not knowing what the hell to do. I was getting a little confused by his little shoulder fin things, but they pop off, so I guess he's a real parts farmer, stupid 3PO. Stick his hand in there. Then where do we shove his stupid legs? Is that seriously it? We just shove his legs in like that? It's kind of sloppy, isn't it? Is that it? It seems like that's right. There's 3PO the TIE Fighter. Alright, I figured out how I was doing the legs wrong. Instead, they're supposed to tuck in along the torso like this, which is a lot better. So here they all are in TIE mode, and yeah, Maul's TIE Fighter kind of looks almost exactly the same as Vader's, but the 3PO and Stromtrooper ties are kind of neat. The way the package shows these is that the correct way is for their chest to be facing up, which I mean, I guess kind of works for like Vader and maybe 3PO and Stormtrooper, but not so much with Maul. I mean, his is just clearly a tunic on top of a TIE fighter, but you can always just flip him over and then that's alright, I suppose. And if you do the same thing with Vader's tie, then they look exactly the same in tie mode. So, I don't know, this might look a little better to you, but then it is kind of plain as there's no painting on this side of them. And then I guess their Pokemon buddies can ride on them so that you can remind yourself that this has something to do with Pokemon. So, just for a second, let's bask in the insanity that is this bootleg. I've got a translucent little Pikachu riding on top of a C3PO who's transformed into a TIE fighter. Wow. Hey, Blastoise. Soon we will have our revenge on the Jedi. Blastoise. Yeah, you're right, Blastoise. I really might as well just be saying, Maul! Maul! Darth Maul! 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 Look, Bulbasaur, someone else mad about the prequel bashing in the comments. Who Baba cares? What? You know, these translucent Pokemon kind of look stoned when you look at them really close up. Either that or they've seen some shit, especially Pikachu. And amazingly, you can make out some detailing on their backs, so that's at least something. The plastic quality isn't super high-end or anything, but they all transformed fine and without breaking anything. Even those shoulder fins that you have to pull out that I was kind of worried about ended up being fine. Paint jobs on the 4 Star Wars characters is pretty average for knockoffs. It's got okay detailing in spots, but some really doofy looking stuff like Vader's eyes and Maul's mustache. Whatever toy's head they decided to rip off for the Stormtrooper was a little bit too small compared to the rest of the lot. Also, they could have used a little paint detailing on what is actually supposed to be the tops of the tie mode. They just flipped them the other way for the fun of it, I suppose. I thought maybe this was an excuse for their little non-paint job there, but the real ones don't have a lot on top either. The Pokemon are a bit overly lazy. At the very least, they could have been in a translucent plastic of each's main color instead of all being yellow. But I do rather enjoy the gimmicked Pokeballs that came with quite a bit, and they actually work really nicely when tossing them over at the Pokemon figures. 8. While the majority of all their molds has been bootlegged off the official Darth Vader TIE Fighter Transformer, they did at least make some new characters by slapping different heads on it. They also added those shoulder fins from the looks of it. I don't know why, but it seems they did. And almost as odd as C3PO turning into a TIE fighter, he was never actually given an official Transformer toy. Unless you count that silly egg thing from that oddball egg line, but you probably shouldn't. Of course now, combining Star Wars Transformers with Pokemon has also gotten them some points here. Would have been more if they had actually combined elements on each of the characters rather than just 2 knockoff sets together. 7. God of War, MarsRobot, go! Yeah, I think these should do fairly well here. It's just so funny seeing Pokemon with Star Wars like they are something that belong together at all. And them deciding to do this with a bootleg of a mold that was already a crossover is even more amusing. Even though it was mostly done for laziness sake, them using the Darth Vader TIE Fighter mold for all the characters also added some amusement. 9. Those MarsRobots really gotta go! Just like the Pokemon bootleggers who gotta go on everything lately. This package has a bunch of funny things to see together on it. I really do appreciate them pointlessly adding that single tech spec
and using it for all the characters. Ooh, and the underside even shows us odd orange and green Pokeballs. I got these figures from Singapore, but these were also distributed around China based on all the Chinese and the probably not quite legit CCC Mark 7. You don't get a little pilot Vader to fly himself, but hey, that's what the Pokemon are for, I suppose. But with no clear window like on the official one, you don't really get to see that unless they ride on top. 5. And the bootleg zones overall is 8! It's mostly just 2 knockoff products being packaged together, but it is still a rather funny sight, and C3PO is a spiffy little Pokemon master.
Look, Bulbasaur, a doofus who thought a mustache would look good on him.
Oh, you dare, Stormtrooper. Soon I shall have my revenge on you, too. Blastoise, use Revenge of the Sith Hydro Pump. Damn, why is my Blastoise so tiny?
Look, it's now awkward.
What? Why, if it isn't a little Pikachu unit, C3PO, transform! Now that I'm a TIE fighter, I can become a Pokemon master! Pokemon Go Ball! Go! Oh, darn! Pokemon Go Balls are the worst! They just want me to waste them and then have to pay for more! I know your scheme! Get out of here! You're not fit for the MarsRobot Go program! What? Shut up, Stormtrooper! You're not a part of this! I know! I'll use the GS Ball! It's about time it had a purpose! I mean, except in Japan! GS Ball, go!
Pika, guess.
C3PO, transform! Oh, thank the Maker. I finally caught a Pikachu, and all I had to do was sell out to the dark side to do it.
No, 3PO. You've always been a part of the dark side. I am your maker.
No, that's not true. That's a continuity nightmare.
Search the prequels. You know them to not care about continuity.
No! No! Pikachu, go!
Ugh. Pikachu and stuff. Ugh.
Pikachu, you're far less effective than you are in the damn anime.
Well, at least Clefairy's got my back. What can you do, Clefairy?
Metronome.
Looks like Darth Vader's blasting off again!